One of my favorite lures to throw during the pre-spawn, hands down, is the jerkbait. This lure can produce some giant bass and is an effective lure through the pre-spawn all the way up to the spawn. With how many different changes happen during the pre-spawn, this is one of the best producing lures that you can have tied on your boat. Most people do not associate the jerkbait with pre-spawn bass fishing, but I'm going to tell you the reasons why this will produce some huge fish during the pre-spawn. After watching the video, let me know down below if you agree or disagree, if you think the jerkbait is a good pre-spawn bait or if it is not. Comment in the comment section down below and let me know your thoughts about it. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say, and I'm curious to see if you guys throw it too. Also, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We are on the way to 5K by the end of the year, and I would love to have you join the community. Without any further delay, let's get into the video, guys. During the pre-spawn, the bass will move out of their winter areas and start heading up the rivers and creek channels to staging areas. Staging areas can depend on what type of body of water you are fishing. However, a good rule of thumb is to target secondary points or deeper water with easy access to shallow water. Whenever the bass are staging up, the jerkbait can be a very effective lure whenever the bass are feeding up on bait fish. During the pre-spawn, bass are feeding heavily on bait fish to get prepared for the spawn. This is when the jerkbait truly shines and catches some huge bass. To dial in on staging locations, I love to use the jerkbait as a search bait. Bass can vary on where they stage up at, depending on your body of water, so the jerkbait truly shines when trying to find where the bass are at. Another reason why the jerkbait is a great selection for a search bait during the pre-spawn is you can change the retrieve of it while working it through the strike zone back to the boat. Generally, I will fish the jerkbait two different ways during the pre-spawn. The first way I will fish the jerkbait, especially if the water is on the colder side, is fishing it as slow as possible. Whenever fishing it as slow as possible, I will generally give it up to a 15-second pause, but normally around 10 seconds is how I fish it most often this time of year. The other way I fish it is by working the jerkbait more quickly to try to trigger a bass into biting. The best way to figure out what cadence you should use is experimenting and see what the bass are wanting to bite that day, because I promise you it's going to change up so frequently that you're really just going to have to dial in on it every day you go. The retrieval speed can make the difference between you getting bites that day or getting skunked. Most people will start to put down the jerkbait once the water temperatures start to warm up, but make sure you still throw the jerkbait throughout the pre-spawn. With how much the bass move during the pre-spawn and feed up on bait fish, the jerkbait is a great lure to use whenever you find suspending bass. Sometimes it can be difficult to find where the bass are at during the pre-spawn, and they are constantly moving, which makes it even more difficult for you to try to find where they're at. They will feed heavy this time of year, and mimicking a bait fish profile is a smart idea. Whenever I am looking for suspended bass, I generally try to look for areas where the bass will be migrating to their staging grounds. They normally will migrate up the river and creek channels, but depending on how big the body of water you are fishing, this can be a large area to cover. Bass will constantly be migrating throughout the river and creek channels during the pre-spawn and will be suspending at different depths, so a jerkbait will be a productive lure to fish. Whenever I'm trying to figure out what depth I want my jerkbait at, depends on where the bass are suspended in the water column and where bait fish are located at. This can change a lot throughout the pre-spawn, so it is important to experiment with different diving depths on your jerkbait. To get down as far as possible, make sure you are using as light of line as possible and fluorocarbon line. This will ensure you are at the maximum depth your jerkbait is rated for. Next time you're on your local body of water and they're suspending bass, make sure you have a jerkbait tied on. The jerkbait is one of my favorite lures to throw whenever I'm fishing in clear water during the pre-spawn due to its drawing power for big fish. There's just something about throwing a jerkbait this time of year that drives the bass crazy. If you work this lure right, you will draw in some huge fish and potentially you might catch your personal best. One of my favorite jerkbaits to use during the pre-spawn and throughout the rest of the year is the Megabass Vision 110. There's something about the unique action the Megabass Vision 110 produces that drives the bass crazy. The Megabass jerkbait mimics a dying baitfish well because of the tungsten multi-way moving balancer system that makes it dart throughout the water column like a baitfish would. This can trigger a reaction strike out of the bass even if they are far away from the jerkbait because they can see it from so far away, and they can hear those rattles in it too. If you have rattles in your jerkbait, of course. The retrieval speed is important whenever you are fishing the jerkbait because depending on how you work it will determine if this lure can draw in the bass. Whenever the bass sees your jerkbait moving through the water column and you pause it, it will draw in the fish and trigger a reaction strike because they think it is a dying bait fish and they'll automatically think it is an easy meal. Next time you are out on the water in clear water conditions, make sure you have a jerkbait tied on and you can experience the drawing power that this lure can produce. You will not want to fish any other lure that day, I promise you, because there is nothing like a jerkbait bite. The jerkbait will get bit whenever other lures won't due to how it can trigger a reaction strike from the bass. The reaction strike the jerkbait produces is like nothing else you will experience, and the jerkbait has personally caught me my personal best spotted bass. During the pre-spawn, it can be hard to catch bass because of how much they are moving around, and the jerkbait is the perfect lure to use. The jerkbait works so well this time of year because of how much water you can cover with it, how you can work the bait, and the drawing power the jerkbait has. The jerkbait is hands down one of the best lures to use during the pre-spawn because of how versatile the lure is, especially with how much changes through the pre-spawn and the constant moving the bass are doing. You can throw a lot of different types of lures during the pre-spawn, however, time and time again, the jerkbait has been a proven fish catcher and will produce some good quality fish whenever you are on the water using this lure. Like I said earlier in the video, many anglers will put down the jerkbait during the pre-spawn and will miss out on one of my personal favorite ways to fish during the pre-spawn. If you've never thrown a jerkbait during the pre-spawn, you are truly missing out on one of the best bites out there. Hopefully this video helped convince you to try a jerkbait this pre-spawn. This lure can catch some huge fish this time of year and will change how you fish. Let me know if this video helped you in the comment section down below. Also, let me know if you have had luck using a jerkbait during the pre-spawn before. I'm actually curious to see how many of you actually threw this before this video. So comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button to help the video in the YouTube algorithm so more people can get recommended this video. If you are not subscribed, I would love to have you join the channel. I also want to thank all of you guys who have subscribed over the past couple months and have trickled in. My channel's like doubled in the past couple months, and it truly means so much to me that you guys are support me the way that you are, and I will keep turning out videos like this. So if there's anything that you guys want to see down below, make sure you comment and let me know, and I'll try to make a video about it, especially if a lot of people like it too. So let me know kind of what you guys are thinking. So make sure you comment that down below, and honestly, I can't wait to see how much the channel grows this year. If you want to check out some other proven fish catchers during the pre-spawn, make sure you check out this video right here. I promise you will not regret it.